Most directors make their financial situation 10 times worse by avoiding creditor conversations. They bury their head in the sands, they don't answer the calls, they wait until it's too late. And that could be a bailiff at your door taking away goods or HMRC sending you a winding up petition. Now here's the truth. Your creditors don't want to destroy your business. They don't want to put you out of business, but they do want to know what's going on. And if you handle these conversations properly, it should reduce the pressure. Now, if you wait for court letters to arrive, you're going to lose power. You're going to lose time. You're going to lose leverage. And if you ignore the wrong creditor, like HMRC or perhaps a landlord with forfeiture rights, you could be out of business in a few days. Now, I've spoken to directors, I've given them advice and they've buried their head in the sand and they call me weeks or months later panicking, telling me, Chris, I've had a winding up petition land, or I've got a bailiff at the door, what can I do? And the key thing is you've got to act early to avoid these type of things happening. Now in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to negotiate with your creditors, suppliers, HMRC, landlords, lenders. And I'm going to show you how to do it the right way. No waffle, no BS, just clear steps that protect your company and your mental health. And here's what we're going to cover. We're going to have how to know which creditors to deal with first. What to say when you call them, what not to say. How to get HMRC to agree a time to pay arrangement. What your legal rights are when creditors get aggressive. How to avoid personal liability during negotiations. And when to stop negotiating and bring in the professionals. And whether you're behind on one supplier or you've got 10 creditors knocking on your door, this is going to give you the confidence and the clarity to take control today. Listen, if you're a UK director and this already sounds familiar, hit the subscribe button. We make weekly videos to help you shut down stress, fix your finances and stay out of personal risk. I'm Chris Worden. I'm from Director First. I have helped thousands of UK directors over the years who were behind on payments, getting CCJs, terrified of bailiffs, and I've seen every mistake in the book and I've seen every win. And this guide is what I wish I'd have known earlier and what I want you to know as a director before panic sets in. Negotiation isn't about being clever, it's not about being sneaky, it's about being calm, clear and prepared. And if you're honest, you're structured and you know your rights, most of your creditors will work with you. The problem is no one teaches you how to do that till now. I mean, let's get one thing straight. When you're behind on payments, the temptation is to treat every creditor the same. Pay whoever's shouting loudest. Listen, that can be a big mistake. And I've been there knowing I can't pay this and I can't pay that and I can't pay HMRC and I'm burying my head in sands. Now, in the world of insolvency, there is a hierarchy of creditors. And if you don't understand it, you can waste your time, you can lose your leverage and potentially you can expose yourself to personal risk. Let's talk about HMRC. For me, they're the most dangerous creditor. If you owe VAT, PAYE, corporation tax, or a combination of all three, the revenue will start sending you letters. Don't ignore them. They can act fast and they don't need a court order to cause chaos. They can issue a winding up petition. They can send field officers round with a Control of Goods Act, which essentially means they're going to take the stuff in your business. And if they issue a winding up petition, that could be the end of the road for you. And with the HMRC, they just want to hear from you. Like, honestly, the good news is if you approach them correctly, they are surprisingly open to doing deals. Another thing, if you owe staff, if you owe wages or you owe redundancy, if your staff haven't been paid, you need to deal with that fast. I mean, not just morally, but legally. Staff are preferential creditors. And if you go into an insolvency process, they're going to jump the queue of who gets paid. They're going to feel mistreated and they can escalate these things fast. And obviously, your staff are your team. If you don't pay your staff, damages you long after an insolvency process. So make sure staff are treated well, try and get them paid. And you've got landlord and lease obligations. Landlords have got teeth. Literally, they can change the locks under forfeiture clause if you fall behind on rent. Now, that's not like most creditors. They don't have to go to court to remove you. Now, I remember a guy over in Liverpool. They had a beauty salon. They missed a couple of months' rent. They didn't respond to the landlord. And the landlord changed the locks at 5 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. Now, stock's still inside. They've got a full column. She lost the shop. She lost her income. And they had to start from scratch. It was a husband and wife team, all because they didn't reply. They needed to pick the phone up. That was all. Then we've got banks, lenders, loan providers. These guys work on policy. They've got departments for arrears, but they're all so slow. It gives you a bit more time to prepare. If you've got a bounce back loan reminder for example, remember bounce back loans are unsecured. You can almost, if you're under serious pressure, kick your bounce back loan into the long grass or use one of the pay as you grow options. And then you've got things like trade suppliers and key contractors. So remember, if your suppliers cut you off, it could choke your business overnight. And if you're reliant on one or two suppliers, you need to speak to them quickly, be transparent and show them a plan. Don't overpromise. Same with contractors. If they don't get paid, the chances are they're going to walk off site. Now, sort of who goes last, who's a non-priority creditor, things like, if you're going to be late on a payment for a printer lease, a business credit card that's got no personal guarantee, these things can wait. Not indefinitely, but they won't close you down tomorrow, okay? So, just so you're aware, you've got HMRC, staff, you've got landlords, you've got banks, lenders, you've got key suppliers, key subcontractors, and then you've got everyone else. Now, if you're unsure where to start, it's probably better off picking the phone up at this stage. Give us a call, drop us a comment. If you jump on a call with a creditor unprepared, the chances are you're going to over waffle, you're going to panic, you're going to overpromise. And once you've said the wrong thing, you can't unsay it. So before you pick the phone up, I want you to get these 5 things in order, right? First thing is you need to know what your current cash flow forecast is. And you need to know what's coming in and what's going out over the next 30, 60, 90 days. Because without this, you're negotiating blind. And if you say you're going to pay £1,000 a month and then miss it, your credibility's gone. And here's a tip, just keep it simple. Spreadsheet, bank statements and projections. If you're not sure, ask your accountant or message us and we'll send you a 13-week rolling cash flow template. Second thing you need to do is who you owe and how much. Make a full list of creditors, names, amounts owed, contact details, due dates. You cannot wing this. A creditor might ask you, are we the only one? And if you lie or you fluff it, the whole conversation derails. And sort it into these categories. What you owe HMRC, VAT, corporation tax, PAYE. What you owe trade suppliers, if you owe any staff. What do you owe lenders? And other bits and pieces, call it miscellaneous. And it gives you clarity, it shows you where the biggest risks lie, okay? And there's some power getting it into black and white and looking at it. Now the third thing is, what can you offer these creditors realistically? Never make an offer just to get them off your back. Only offer what you can afford. And if that's nothing this month, say it, but show the plan. Now, you say something like this, listen, we're in a tight spot now. I can offer £500 per month starting next month. I've got 3 invoices due and I expect cash flow to improve by the end of the quarter because credibility will buy you time. False promises are going to destroy your trust. Now, fourth thing is documentation, right? If you're dealing with HMRC or you're dealing with, a lender like Funding Circle, Capital, IWOC or something like that, they might ask you for management accounts. Now, management accounts are obviously that monthly update of what's coming in, what's going on, are you making profit, what have you got left at the end of the month. It's a line by line history where the business is. So you need to have these to show them and it will give you some justification of what you're proposing, okay? People want it, the more evidence you can see, the more evidence your creditors can see, the more likely they're going to take things seriously, okay? And if you can show them a sort of plan to recovery, you've got 10 times more chance that they're going to help you, okay? 5, you've got to decide where your no deal line is, your boundaries are, you know? What will you not agree to? Will you not pay up front? What can't you commit to? Are you not going to sign a personal guarantee? Do you need a break period first? Decide before you call. Otherwise, they're going to steer you into deals that you're going to regret. And a quick tip is write down your limits in plain English before you call and stick to them. No panic promises, okay? You've got to remember is a lot of your creditors, if you're forced through an insolvency, they're going to get very little. So you've got an element of power here. Now, I'm going to sort of give you the perfect creditor call structure. So when it's time to pick the phone up, this is exactly how you handle the conversation. No guesswork, no panic, calm, clear, structured approach. So step 1, clear introduction. Start the call professionally and confidently. Set the right tone immediately. Hello, it's Chris Worden. I'm the director of Director First. I'm calling regarding the outstanding invoicing account and I appreciate your patience and want to resolve this properly. Now, why this works, it shows people respect immediately. It acknowledges responsibility and it establishes credibility. Now, step 2 in that is you've got to have a bit of brief context. Don't ramble. Keep context short, clear, and show you're proactive and honest. And it goes something like this. We've hit temporary cash flow difficulties because of delayed payments from key clients or whatever the situation is for you. We're actively fixing this by collecting debts, cutting overheads, restructuring some internal process. You've got to tailor it to what you're doing there. The reason why something like that will work is it demonstrates honesty and it reassures your creditors that you're actively managing the problem and it gives them confidence you're not hiding anything. And step 3 is you clearly state your offer. Present your proposal realistically and confidently. No guesswork or vague promises. I've reviewed our cash flow carefully and we can comfortably pay X per month starting on X date. And once cash flow improves in X amount of time scale, we're going to look at increasing repayments. If you can't pay them immediately, be honest. Say we can't pay this month, but from next month we can start payments of X a month. And I'd like to agree on this as a formal payment plan. Why this works is it provides clarity and certainty for you and for them. It avoids false promises and it builds trust through transparency. Because you've got to remember is a lot of these people are getting fannied off the creditors. They're not being told the truth. They're getting deals done and then they're missing deals. And step 4, you want to invite their response and listen to it. Show genuine willingness to collaborate. Invite their feedback openly. Like, does this approach work for you? Is there any flexibility from your side? And when you ask a question, shut up. Be quiet, listen carefully, because they might counteroffer or ask a question. You've got to stay calm, composed, and stick to your prepared boundaries. And at the end, step 5 is confirm the agreement clearly. Because once it's agreed verbally, confirm everything to avoid misunderstandings. So it's something like, to confirm, starting on this date, we'll pay this amount monthly, reviewed in this time frame. And I'll send you this in writing immediately after this call. And always follow up these conversations with an email the same day. Okay? Now, here are some tips of not what to say. I'll pay you whatever you want. Okay? Never surrender control of the call out of panic. Never tell them we'll pay the full amount next week when you can't, because it destroys credibility. Don't tell them that you're about to go into the insolvency or you might close tomorrow, especially if you're not, because it avoids unnecessary panic. You've just got to be open and honest. Remember, confidence and honesty are your strongest cards, because most people, okay, they're not going down this approach. They're not offering a decent solution. They're just dodging creditors all the time. If you stick to this script loosely, you're going to come across as credible, prepared and trustworthy. Creditors respect calm, clear communication above all else. Now, HMRC negotiations are a little bit different, okay? Because the revenue don't negotiate based on relationships. They negotiate based on policy and evidence, right? So I want you to understand HMRC's position. They're under pressure to collect unpaid taxes fast, okay? They can come and take control of goods. They can wind the company up. They can cause you these problems quite quickly. But they don't do it overnight. They'll have been trying to collect that outstanding arrears in over a period of time, okay? What you probably don't realise about HMRC is they prefer structured payment plans, they're called time to pay arrangements, rather than going down the aggressive enforcement route. And they will negotiate with you if they believe you'll stick to the deal. So this is a step-by-step guide to negotiation with HMRC. Step 1, prepare your documentation. Before calling, you must have ready your management accounts showing income and expenditure. That is what I do. And you need to have a cash flow showing them the next 3 to 6 months. And you're going to have all your returns up to date. If your returns aren't up to date, the HMRC aren't going to want to negotiate with you, okay? And then you're going to tell them your proposed repayment plan, realistic monthly amounts. You want to tell them reasons for the arrears, clearly explaining what the problem is, okay? Now, I know when you speak to the HMRC, they're going to allow you to pay up to over 3 years, okay? They might want it in sooner than 3 years, but what I'm saying to you is cash is king. Try and push it out as long as you possibly can and give a realistic, structured proposal based on your cash flow, okay? Now, you've got to listen to what they say and you may need to negotiate. HMRC might counter offer. They might suggest higher payments over a short period of time. But you've got to be honest if it's too high. Don't accept deals that you can't afford. You can offer, if they're not going to do any deal with you, you can just pay them bits by bits by bits every month. Now I think as long as they're getting something, it's unlikely they're going to start that process of collecting the debt more aggressively. But once you've got a deal done with HMRC, you must stick to it. They'll give you a time to pay arrangement because in 99% of cases, if you end up in insolvency or they wind you up, they'll get diddly squat. And you can use this from a position of power. Remember, stay calm, professional and confident in your figures, okay? Once you've had an HMRC time to pay set up, it's dead important that you stick to what you've agreed, okay? Never ignore them, okay? If you fail on a time to pay arrangement, it goes in breach, or you don't pay your current, so your next VAT bill doesn't get paid, your time to pay arrangement gets ripped up. This is what you don't do with HMRC. Never ignore them. Silence escalates enforcement action. Don't promise what you can't deliver because HMRC can revoke agreements instantly. Don't be emotional or aggressive. Stay clean, stay clear, stay calm, stay factual. Now, I think HMRC, in my experience, they very rarely reject sensible evidence-backed repayment plans, okay? They respect directors who approach them proactively and transparently, okay? Don't bury your head with HMRC. Now here's how to handle aggressive creditors. Most negotiations I think will go smoothly, but occasionally you'll face someone aggressive and maybe they're threatening legal action, sending bailiffs, or they're calling repeatedly. And here's exactly how you would manage those conversations. First of all, you've got to remain calm. Aggression from a creditor, I think, is mainly a tactic. They want to make you panic and they want you to pay faster. Never match their aggression. Stay calm, confident and professional. Your strongest weapon here is clear, fact-based communication. Now, if they threaten legal action, this is what I'd say. I understand you're considering legal action and we're working on resolving this fairly for both parties, and here's our proposal, okay? You've got to understand your rights. You know, aggressive creditors often threaten things that they can't legally do. They can't force entry without proper enforcement officers. You know, debt collectors aren't bailiffs. They can't seize goods or threaten physical action. Bailiffs must provide notice and get court approval. And if threats cross the line, you want to say to them, listen, I understand you're frustrated. Please send any claims or threats in writing. We're recording these calls for accuracy, and this calmly shows you're informed, and it should reduce that aggression immediately. And I always think you need to do this. Use clear, documented communication. If you experience aggression, immediately follow it up in writing. Confirm what was said verbally and restate your proposal clearly. Request that they respond professionally in writing. Okay? So an example one, after a difficult call, is following our conversation today, I want to reconfirm our payment proposal of X amount a month. Aggressive communication won't resolve this matter faster. Let's focus on finding a practical solution. This written record protects you legally, and I think it resets the tone professionally. Offer structured, realistic plans. Now, aggression usually arises from creditors feeling ignored or undervalued. So if you offer achievable repayments, explain clearly why you can't pay them faster, and reassure them with transparency about your situation, you're going to have a better chance of getting them to agree. Now, I want to sum up with this. You need to know when to bring in professionals, because it's one thing robbing Peter to pay Paul and ducking and diving for a few months to get yourself out of the hole. But if you are past the point of no return, okay? If you don't think that you are going to be able to get through this and get back onto a level playing field, that's the time to pick up the phone to someone in insolvency and speak to somebody like us. And the sooner you speak to somebody like us, the more opportunity and more options that you've got, and generally the better outcome for everybody. So if you want some free, independent and impartial advice, give us a call. Chris Worden, Director First. Thank you.